Hey YouTube, welcome back. My name is Jason, and this is Too Large to Lose. I know I haven't done one of these videos in a little while, and apologize about that for anybody that was watching my kind of fitness, health journey. I've got, a little bit of weight I got to lose, well, decent amount of weight, and just get in better shape in general. And I wanted to talk about something that happened to me and was something I was kind of talking about being motivated in this process. And it's easy early on, when you start to work out, or you start to run, or you start to, whatever it is that you're doing, to try to get in shape. It's easy to be motivated to do that. I felt incredibly motivated early on, and this is probably about 2-3 months ago now, that I really started to commit to, exercising and working out. I've probably been doing it since about the end of November. So we're going on about, I don't know, almost 6 months. And I felt highly motivated in the beginning and really got committed to it kind of, I don't know, beginning of the year. It wasn't a New Year's thing. It was just, I had started to do it, kind of building up slowly to working out and exercising again, and really got to doing it in like January-ish. Started really, lifting, really, hitting the treadmill and the elliptical and whatnot. And I've been doing it since then. I have not stopped. So don't if anybody watches this at all, don't look at this as like, oh, I started, I got going, and then I quit. I did not. I've been doing this since November, and I've ramped it up even more, and really started doing heavier weights and more movements and things like that. So don't look at it that way. What happened for me was, I guess, that I got discouraged, and I know this is something that I had talked about in some of my other videos. But, like I said, early on, it's easy to look past the discouragement. Oh, I'm not seeing the results right this second, but, I've just started. And I guess as I got going, and I guess as I really started doing it, I really was thinking, okay, I'm going to see these results. Like I'm just, they're going to show up like any day now, and I'm going to start losing the belly fat, and everything's going to fit better, and all this stuff. And that's just not how it works. And I think that I kind of was like, well, I guess I'm not gonna like do this. I'm not seeing the results. And I felt uninspired and discouraged with that process. Though I didn't quit. I've still been working out. So I say all that and to say, so last night, or actually the past couple of weeks, I have noticed that like my, things are fitting a little bit better. I'm using another notch on the belt, kind of thing. And I was like, maybe it's starting to work. Weight loss has always been a struggle for me, like always. And I'm doing another video. I'm doing a series on my time in the service, and you'll see some of those scattered in. I'm just do stories, just talk about things that I've gone through in my life. And so, anyways, and part of that story about me getting into the military was having to lose weight. Anyways, this just been something I've struggled with all my life. Okay. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat. And I used to say, gosh, my genetics are so bad. I can't lose weight. It's just this huge fight for me. And it just is. That's just how it is. But anyways, so I kind of got discouraged in this process, and I thought, I'm not going to do any more of these videos. I'm not seeing change and all this stuff. And then last night, I actually got batteries. I put them in my scale that I have in our bathroom, and I got on the scale, and I was shocked. I guess I shouldn't have been shocked, but I was, that I had actually lost about, I don't know, 13 pounds, 14 pounds, which is huge for me. I still got a ways to go, but I was very happy to see that I had moved the scale, and not just a small amount, not just a couple pounds that could be water weight or whatever, but actual real weight. And I guess I felt re-motivated today. I'm about to hop on the treadmill. I've kind of graduated from the elliptical to the treadmill where I'm actually running and doing sprints and stuff. And it's feeling good doing that. And so anyways, I just wanted to kind of maybe start this again and start hopefully motivating somebody out there to keep doing it. I guess what I have really changed and really focused on over the past maybe 3 months, since about February or so, has really been my diet. And I was eating healthier towards the end of last year and beginning of this year. I was eating healthier, but not like I should. And I was, and so I realized after watching some videos on a completely random channel that I saw on YouTube, and I highly recommend checking out some of this guy's videos. But the channel is called Think Before You Sleep, and maybe he's not for everybody, but I really love his straightforward, analytical view on like life and data and addiction. And that's something I can talk about more in another video, another time. I can go pretty heavy into that. But anyways, he has some really interesting things to say. And he talks a lot about weight loss and kind of how our society is now, looking at, obese and overweight people and saying, oh, that's okay. It's okay to be this way. That's your body. That's how you're supposed to be. And I get how people want to feel okay and in their own skin and all that stuff, but the reality is it's not healthy. Being 50 pounds overweight or 100 pounds overweight and more, obviously, is not. It just isn't healthy. It really is not. And you should. And I realize that. I got to a point where I'm easily 75 pounds overweight, and I've really got to lose just weight. I'm just so tired of just, being heavy and things not fitting. But anyways, to listen to, and I can't remember the creator's name because he doesn't say it very often, but on the Think Before You Sleep channel, he talks about eating, and he talks about relationship with food in terms of if you don't have a good relationship with food and you use food to feel better and for comfort, and obviously if you've gotten to a point where you're just, you're eating and you've become so large and you put on so much weight as an addiction. And it's really interesting to hear that. I don't think I'd ever really heard it like that before, even though it makes perfect sense. But when you think about food and the way your relationship with food and how you treat food, you should have this healthy, I eat to satiate myself and for, all the stuff that we need from eating. But when you go to a point where you're eating incredibly unhealthy, which I was doing, I did it for a while. I had a very active job, and I was very active, and so I could get away with doing it to some degree. And then as business has slowed down a little bit, and I've kind of started to step away from that, and other things, which again I'll elaborate on in another video. But you eat to feel good. For me, food has always been that comfort thing for me. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel better. I enjoy eating. Whatever. But anyways, and I'm not ashamed of that. But I've realized that that's not healthy. That is not how you can have a sustainable, healthy body, by just eating whatever you want, whenever you want. And so to hear this guy talk about how, you need to really, either get help or have a real hard look at your relationship with food and how you treat food. And so it really sunk home for me when I started to watch some of this guy's videos, because I could relate to so much of what some of these shows and these people that he was talking about were talking about, and how they treat food. And I just realized I have this very unhealthy view of food, and it shouldn't just be, oh, I don't feel good today, so I'm going to eat a bunch of food, or I had something happen and I'm stressed out, so I'm going to eat a bunch of food, or I'm going to sit on the couch and eat a bunch of food. That should not be how we look at food. So anyways, I say that to say I really have changed my diet a lot, and I don't miss any of the stuff I've been eating. No, like zero fast food. Eating a lot of protein. I mix in protein shakes after I lift and stuff. Doing protein, and making I'll saute a ton of broccoli, and I can have it for like the week, and I'll mix it in with like eggs and things. And I don't know, it may not sound good to you guys, but I'm doing things that are more natural, stuff that I can make and eat just kind of like quickly. I don't have to like make a whole meal. I can just get some of the broccoli I made, or chicken, or just some other things, and I can eat them quickly. And I know that it's healthy. It's not going to be something that's going to just destroy my diet and what I'm doing, for the day. So, anyways, I say all that to say, if you're out there and you're going through this process and you realize you got to lose a bunch of weight and you've got to do, whatever it is you got to do to get there, and this happened to me, and so I just want to say it again. Don't be discouraged. If you don't see it happening right away, because I went through this, and I wish I could look back, tell myself this, like, yeah, it's discouraging. I didn't quit is the good part, but I feel like I should, if I was going to do this, where I'm talking to you guys and trying to help somebody out there, I should have stayed with it and just, keep doing it and hopefully motivating somebody else. And so I apologize for that. I really do. But I've kind of realized that, just because you don't see the results like right this second or tomorrow or whenever it is, they will come. And if you're like me and you're one of these people that says, oh, I've got the worst genetics in the world and the worst metabolism in the world, and maybe I do. However, your body burns calories. It has to survive. And if you put less calories in than your body is using up with, living, with exercising, with lifting weights and whatever else it is, you will ultimately lose weight. And I know some people can just like not eat a meal and then their stomach gets flat. My wife can eat whatever she wants, and she's just like perfect shape all the time, never matters. She could be a model, but that's not how my body works. And so I can't look at food the same way that she does. And anyways, I know I'm starting to ramble at this point, but I just wanted to say, I am going to start trying to do this more often, making videos about this, just with my progress in this. And actually, so as I think about the weight that I have lost, I think I said 12 or 13 pounds, I'm also lifting, so I'm putting on. I'm starting to see some gains and stuff. So, hopefully that's countering some of it. Maybe it's more fat loss than what I just see on the scale. But anyways, now I'm really rambling. Anyways, if you're out there and you're doing this, and anybody watches this whatsoever, I hope this motivates somebody to just stick with it, keep going. You will start to see the results. Again, it probably won't be overnight, but if you do it, things will happen. And as I look at this now and I think, okay, it's been about 6 months since I started, and I've really got my diet just kind of figured out, and I'm not eating out of like to feel better and all this stuff anymore. And I really am using the weight loss that I'm seeing as motivation to keep going. And I just think, in a year, I'm going to be even further along. I'm going to be even closer to my goal and all that stuff. And I hope somebody out there maybe sees this, and this will help them do the same thing. So anyways, don't sabotage yourself by thinking I'm not seeing it. And I'm just going to go back to the way it was, because, that is just not a healthy way to approach your fitness goals, your health goals, because nobody wants to be that heavy. Nobody wants to be dealing with that, because it's not fun. I mean, as we get older, it's just, that's not a sustainable way to approach life. So anyways, I highly recommend Think Before You Sleep. Check out his channel. Really, really good information. Check out like the weight loss ones. I mean, he's got a ton of videos, and highly entertaining. I love listening to this guy talk. But anyways, go check out his channel, and maybe it'll motivate you. Maybe you'll hear something that like clicks and makes sense, because it really did for me. Like it really it really hit me. And I was like, gosh, I really have got to take a different approach to the way I look at food, because it is like an addiction, and I've already dealt with that. So anyways, check out his channel, Think Before You Sleep. But anyways, if you're here and any of this was useful, I know I'm rambling now. If any of this is useful, hit that subscribe button for me. Hit like, drop a comment. Let me know where you are in your weight loss goals or journey and all that stuff. And I'll try to do this a little more often, and keep you guys updated. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.